Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer. Thanks to Alfei for this one. Amy controls a dragon cultist, and her commander is a planeswalker. If she animates her commander, can she get a dragon token? Okay, so before we get started, here's a brief message from the well actually crowd. Turns out that so far none of the planeswalkers that can be your commander have an ability that animates them like this Sarkhan does. I definitely feel like someone out there has a commander deck that includes Dragon Cultist and has Sarkhan rule zeroed as the commander. And even if not, there are other ways that you can make a planeswalker into a creature, such as the Spark Rupture. So yeah, for the purpose of today's episode, we're just going to take it for granted that Sarkhan is Amy's commander and that it's a creature, without worrying about how that happened. Now, that said, the ability on Dragon Cultist says commander creatures you own have some ability. The way this functions is that it sets up a continuous effect that gives that ability to the permanents matching that description. If it helps, you can think of it like this Bloodmark Mentor. It also gives an ability to all permanents matching a specific description. The only difference is that ability is first strike and it applies to red creatures you control. Let's apply this to the situation from the original problem statement. Is Sarkhan a commander? Yes. Is it a creature? Yes. Does Amy own it? Yes. Therefore, it is included in the set of things that Dragon Cultist's ability applies to, so Sarkhan would have that ability. You might have noticed that Sarkhan's ability that animates itself does so in such a way that Sarkhan stops being a planeswalker. The answer would be no different if we were dealing with something more like this Gideon, which is worded such that it still is a planeswalker after it animates itself. If Gideon is a commander creature that Amy owns, Dragon Cultist will apply to it. The fact that Gideon is also a planeswalker is no problem, just like how Bloodmark Mentor will give first strike to all your red creatures, even the ones that happen to be another color also. Now let's close out with a few notes about how the ability Dragon Cultist grants functions. This is a triggered ability that triggers at the beginning of your end step. Therefore, for this ability to trigger, a permanent needs to have this ability at the beginning of your end step. It doesn't matter if your commander had that ability when the source was dealing damage, or even if your commander was in play at all when the damage was taking place, because the ability doesn't trigger on dealing damage. It triggers at the beginning of your end step, and then it asks the game for some information to decide whether it should do something. Likewise, if your commander isn't in play, or isn't a creature, or if your Dragon Cultist gets removed before the end step, you won't get a dragon token from that ability, regardless of what else happened earlier in the turn. This is similar to how things with a flurry ability need to be in play when you're casting your second spell of the turn. It doesn't matter if they were around to see your first spell, because the game gives it that information. Finally, one last thing that people sometimes get confused about is that the Dragon Cultist ability does not say the source needs to deal 5 damage all at once, nor that it has to deal 5 damage to the same thing, nor that you have to still control the source at the end of the turn when the ability triggers. As long as one individual source has dealt a total of 5 damage to anything over the course of the turn, you can get a dragon. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling. Until then, I hope you have a great day.